Hi, I'm Raquel, and along with 240, I'm here to help you pass your certification exam. This video is going to prepare you for the Minnesota Teaching Licensure Examinations, or MTLE Pedagogy Secondary Subtest 2. This video is going to cover three things: what's on the test and how to study for it, the most likely concepts that will be on the test, and we're going to look at a few practice questions. Today we're only discussing Subtest 2. Check out our channel for Subtest 1. Let's roll up our sleeves and dig into it. Now, the MTLE Pedagogy Elementary Subtest 2 consists of approximately 50 total questions, coming from two overarching sub-areas. The sub-areas are assessment, instruction, and disciplinary literacy, and the professional environment. Each sub-area is worth about 50% of the exam. This means you'll see about 25 questions from each. You'll find 3 objectives each within these two sub-areas. In Sub-Area 1, we have understanding various types of assessment and relationships among assessment, instruction, and learning, understanding instructional planning procedures, and understanding disciplinary literacy foundations. Sub-Area 2 covers understanding communication techniques, understanding professional development opportunities and resources, and understanding the historical and philosophical foundations of education, the rights and responsibilities of students, parents, guardians, and educators, and legal and ethical guidelines for educators in Minnesota. In this video, we'll go over each sub-area and its objectives. Then we'll end with a few practice questions to make sure you've got these key concepts down. Let's look at the first objective within Sub-Area 1. This sub-area focuses on different teaching strategies, from the planning to the instruction to learning assessment. As its name suggests, our first objective is all about understanding various types of assessment, instruction, and learning. Assessment is a major component of education as a whole, as well as the specific day-to-day role of an educator. It will also likely be a significant part of your exam. Assessment is more than just giving tests and taking grades. You should be familiar with important terms regarding types of assessment. Here's a tip. Assessments may be criterion referenced or norm referenced. You may be wondering what those terms mean. Let's break them down. Criterion referenced assessments compare student performance to a predetermined standard, which is a criteria. Scores on these types of tests come in the form of a percentage. Tests administered at the end of an instructional unit and state achievement tests are common examples. Norm-referenced assessments compare students to each other and rank them according to performance. Scores on these types of tests come in the form of a percentile, grade level equivalency, or staining during a normal bell-shaped curve. Common examples include the SAT test and IQ tests. In other words, criterion-referenced assessment looks at how students perform against a set criteria. Norm-referenced assessment looks at how students perform against the normal curve. Take a look at some other key terms and ideas, such as universal screener, diagnostic assessment, informal assessments, formal assessments, formative assessments, or summative assessments. Feel free to pause this video here to add 240's definitions to your notes. Next, Objective 2, understanding instructional planning procedures. This objective delves into effective planning methods to design classes promoting learning and achievement for all students. Let's back up a step. A typical school day is split into chunks of time, each focused on a particular subject. Students benefit from this practical and predictable routine. However, this structure can keep students from seeing how subjects are interconnected. This is where interdisciplinary instruction comes into play. Interdisciplinary instruction integrates multiple subject areas by putting them together. By integrating subjects, teachers can provide students with a broader understanding of content and develop their awareness of the ways in which knowledge and skills can be utilized between subjects. Interdisciplinary instruction benefits students in many ways. It draws on motivation from different subjects, makes learning meaningful and relevant, prepares students for real life, fosters critical thinking and collaboration, and provides greater appreciation of the value of all subject areas. Objective 3 is understanding how to use a variety of instructional strategies to provide effective and appropriate learning experiences. Some of the most powerful instructional strategies start with the same source: technology. Our world is becoming more and more digital, a fact that can be used to a teacher's advantage. The following applications can be accessed and used with devices such as computers or tablets. Databases. Many schools or districts provide student databases to store and organize student information, including assessment results. Teachers can apply filters to quickly access the needed information. Record keeping. Many teachers use digital tools for record keeping. This simplifies the process of tracking and recording things like attendance and grades. Learning management systems, or LMS. Teachers may use learning management systems to create and deliver digital content. These platforms can be used for both virtual and in-person learning, as well as assessments with instant scoring and feedback for students. Collaboration software. This allows teachers to share and work on files together, making comments and tracking changes on their own time while still working together to meet a common goal. Multimedia presentations. Teachers may use multimedia presentations to enhance their lessons with audio and visual components. Not every lesson needs to be as flashy as a movie or video game, but the proper use of multimedia in the classroom can help capture and hold student attention. Supplemental programs. These can provide extra practice or resources to continue learning outside the classroom. Teachers should be open to student input about digital resources that could be beneficial for class. We're already halfway there. Dang, I was hoping for overtime. This sub-area is about excelling in your role as an educator, as well as the role of education in general. It makes up about 50% of the exam, or approximately 25 questions. It's important for teachers to foster positive relationships with students' families. Plant the seed for a positive relationship to grow from the start, and tend to it regularly throughout the school year. This idea can be split into two categories: beginning of instruction and throughout the year. At the beginning of instruction, parents should receive background information on a teacher, such as your school phone number and email address, your background, why you like to teach, and anything else you feel comfortable sharing. It's natural for parents to want to know who is responsible for their child's education. On the flip side, you'll need the parents' contact information too, as well as their preferred method of communication. Other things you should share include general classroom information and clear expectations for academic performance. Throughout the year, teachers should keep families up to date with what students are learning and working on. Progress reports and report cards can also communicate student progress and performance to parents, though sometimes more frequent communication is needed. Parents do not want to be surprised by anything concerning that shows up on an official report. Make them aware of your observations ahead of time, along with ways you're trying to help. Parents will appreciate this. Teachers should also share ways for parents to be involved in their child's education, such as ideas to reinforce concepts at home or volunteer opportunities. And remember, parents should feel comfortable enough to reach out to teachers throughout the year. Let's get into the next objective: understanding professional development opportunities and resources. This skill is all about teachers as professionals. What strides can you take to develop your career? Teachers should be lifelong learners. Makes sense, right? The field of education is continuously evolving, and there is always something new for teachers to learn or improve upon. That's where professional development comes in. Teachers have many different opportunities for both in-person and online professional development, such as classes, conferences, workshops, in-service training, books, articles, or academic journals. Teachers should ask themselves these questions to determine what topic to choose. What areas of my teaching practice could I improve? What will have the greatest impact on students? Teachers can be great resources for each other. Many schools pair up new teachers with mentor teachers, and even experienced teachers can learn from each other. Knowing who to turn to for help or inspiration is a valuable professional development tool. One last thing to remember: all types of professional development should all have one thing in common. It should always be research-based. You're almost there. Ready to finish up with professional roles and responsibilities? Let's go. Our last concept is understanding the historical and philosophical foundations of education, the rights and responsibilities of students, parents, guardians, and educators, and legal and ethical guidelines for educators in Minnesota. This objective is all about ethics and responsibility. In our state, teachers are required by law to report any suspected abuse or neglect of a student. There are many signs of abuse to look out for, such as a student who seems withdrawn or depressed, seems afraid to go home or wants to run away, shies away from physical contact, acts aggressive, has sudden and drastic changes in behavior, wears clothing that covers their whole body, even in the warmer months, though remember this could also be a cultural practice and have nothing to do with abuse, or has unexplained burns, cuts, bruises, or broken bones. Great work. I understand that this can feel overwhelming, but remember, subscribe to the 240 study guide for everything you need. Now let's get into our practice questions. Together we'll tackle one question related to each objective we covered in sub-areas 1 and 2. Let's get into it. We'll begin all the way back at our first objective, types of assessment. Which of the following represents a criterion reference score? A, a ranking that indicates percentile rank on a standardized test. B, a raw score on a state-mandated test that indicates the number of correct answers. C, a stenine that indicates where a student falls on a bell curve. Or D, a score that indicates how well a student understands the specific content on a project. Define the terms criterion referenced and norm referenced in your head. Keeping those in mind, the correct answer is D. A criterion reference test compares the score to what a student should have mastered after being taught a set of information. Most classroom tests and quizzes created by a teacher are criterion referenced. Great start. Now let's think about understanding instructional planning procedures. A group of 9th grade teachers would like to plan an interdisciplinary unit themed around urbanization. Which of the following would be the most appropriate first step in planning? A, reviewing relevant content standards for each subject area. B, assigning individual responsibilities for each teacher to contribute to the unit. C, identifying instructional resources the team can use. Or D, creating a graphic organizer to list ideas related to the theme and subject areas. Well, now I've got to ask, thinking about our lesson on interdisciplinary connections, what would you do first? Got your answer ready? Good. The correct answer is A. The first step is to review which content standards will be covered in the unit. No other steps can be completed until this is done. Nice job. Okay, this next question will get us into technology. A teacher is teaching their students how to create a works cited page to be included at the end of their research papers. A student asks if the class can use the citation generator found at scribr.com. The teacher has never heard of this website. What's the best response? A, give the student permission to use their site to generate their works cited. B, tell the student they're not permitted to use any sites that aren't on the list provided. C, tell him that the site will be previewed first to determine its quality. D, check with the school administration to see if the site meets the school guidelines. And the answer is C. Sometimes the student might be aware of a technology tool that the teacher isn't aware of. In these situations, it's important for the teacher to be open to previewing the resource suggested by the student and allowing the student to use it if they can benefit from its use. 3 down, 3 to go. We're moving into sub-area 2 now. Which of the following would show effective collaboration between a parent and a teacher? A, a teacher creates a behavior chart for a struggling student and the teacher and parent both sign it each day. B, a parent gives a gift at the end of the first semester and the teacher sends a thank you note. C, a teacher and parent exchange emails about a student who is at risk of failing. Or D, a teacher sends home a positive note about a child who has been participating more than usual. Okay guys, the key word here is collaboration. Though these are all positive interactions between a teacher and a parent, only one of these choices is a true collaboration. Got your answer ready? The answer is A. In this scenario, the teacher and parent are working together to help the student with behavior issues. You're doing great, just a couple more. Let's move on to understanding professional development opportunities and resources. Mr. Tomlin is a first-year teacher who wants to improve his classroom management. Which of the following would be the best strategy for Mr. Tomlin to improve his classroom management skills? A. Use online resources to find the best classroom management techniques. B. Discuss his current strategies with the principal and ask the principal for guidance in improving his classroom management skills. C. Observe the classroom management abilities of other first-year teachers. Or D. Observe experienced teachers in the classroom and discuss classroom management skills when students leave the class. Before answering this question, consider, in which choice can Mr. Tomlin see how the strategies are implemented? The answer is D. Almost there, last step. Understanding the historical and philosophical foundations of education, the rights and responsibilities of students, parents, guardians, educators, and the legal and ethical guidelines for educators in Minnesota. Mr. Smith notices that one of his students, Andrew, is having trouble sitting down and constantly shifts his weight during class. He asks Andrew if something is wrong, and Andrew replies that his thigh is bruised because his father hit him, but he asks Mr. Smith not to tell anyone because he is embarrassed. Mr. Smith suspects the student might be abused. Which of the following is the best response to the suspicion? A. Mr. Smith should contact the campus administrator about the situation, as well as Child Protective Services. B. Mr. Smith should monitor the student to see if he shows up with more bruises or symptoms of abuse. C. Mr. Smith should honor the student's wishes and not tell anybody about the situation. Or D. Mr. Smith should contact the father of the student about the situation. Situations like this can be tricky, but the best answer is always A. This is the best route and is the legally required route. Thanks for sticking with me from start to finish. If you found it helpful, give it a like. There is still plenty more to learn. Thousands of teachers have passed their certification exams using our study guides. If you really want to make sure you're prepared for the MTLE Pedagogy Secondary Subtest 2, take the next step and subscribe to the 240 study guide. It has hours of videos so you can watch or listen while doing chores. It is test aligned, so you know precisely what you need to study. And it has hundreds of practice questions, so you can be sure you're ready. And it has the money back guarantee. So click the link below right now to get started.